again to the Benster Show. Today we are looking at a sensitive matter that is putting the country on its knees, and that is crime. Crime is like cancer. Recently I saw an article that investors are leaving the country because of crime. And, nobody want to live in a country that is infested with crime, and the worst kind of criminality. This is what we are experiencing as the citizens of this country. So we are honored in studio today. We have Ambassador of Interpol, Mr. Andy Mashaile. Mr. Andy, we thank you for heeding to our call when we asked you to join us, that you came, and welcome to the Benster Show.
It's good to be on the heavyweight champion podcast with yourselves as the man in the middle, whilst I stand in the corner as a novice. I hope to live as a champion after engaging with you.
We are honored. You are a champion yourself, and that's why you are here, and we are so happy. But we are going to talk about something that is putting the country on its knees, crime. And we don't seem to be winning the battle against crime. And we have our law enforcement in this country, but it seems like it's just uphill. I don't know, what is your take on that?
Crime is a serious scourge in our communities where I was born and bred, where most of us, in terms of our grandparents, come from. Fast forward to today, we are not able to enjoy the fruits of freedom because of criminals, be them national or local criminals or foreign national criminals, and across the color line, African and European. I don't normally describe myself as a black person, no. Yeah. It's a state of mind, black, it's a color. I don't look black, and you certainly don't look black.
True.
But we are Africans. We'd better describe ourselves geographically where we come from, because all of our people who are all over the world are referred to as Africans. And some of them choose to call themselves blacks because they are attacked in the mind and they have submitted. That's the first form of crime that we are experiencing. Being described to suit a certain purpose without your permission. And when you have not expressly given permission, it's a form of crime. The second thing, yes, crime is a serious problem. And you're going to say to me, Bra Andy or Ntate Mashaile. And then I say to you, Zizi, Babu Dlamini. You're going to say to me, what do you mean? What kinds of crimes are we talking about here? Let's talk about the most powerful form of crime that is not visible to our naked eye. Financial crimes. People who steal money. I'm not talking about money laundering. I'm talking about financial crimes. Financial crimes including cyber crime, including cryptocurrency, including all forms of crimes that have to do with financial crimes. I just said to you off air, I was on an interview with Jamaicans on Saturday evening. One of the things that we spoke about is that SSL investment bank that stole 1 billion from our brother Usain Bolt. He kept his money there. They didn't tell the people that they were using the money to hedge funds in other countries, and the whole bank collapsed. One of our own brothers, an African brother who finds himself in Jamaica, his money has been stolen. That's a crime. And I was asked, what do I advise that should happen? All those who are responsible for the Financial Commission, they have the Financial Commission Authority or something like that. If they were aware, like I was told, in the last 10 years, that there have been irregular expenditure, irregular transactions with that investment bank, they're also criminals. Even those who are outside who could not return to the board, they knew that crime was being committed and they kept quiet. And in the same space, here at home, financial crimes are happening. Marcus Yoste stole money, and Marcus Yoste is still working
scot-free.
Yes, scot-free. That's a form of crime. It's also an emotional and psychological crime to you and I, the people of this country, particularly those who had invested in the operations of Marcus Joster's business.
Who is Marcus Joster?
Marcus Joster is the CEO of this company. I can't
Recall the name?
I can't recall the name for now. Marcus Joster, when it was discovered that money was stolen, they said, no, it's an accounting irregularity. But when it's people like you and I and other people, it's crime. It's money laundering. It's fraud. Yes, it's fraud.
Yeah. In other words, you say we also have a challenge with how crime is handled. That for some, their criminal activity will be handled with kids' gloves. And then where else, with some, it will be handled in a different manner.
Roughly,
with an iron hand.
Yes, gloves off.
Yeah, gloves off.
Yes.
So then I also liked what you said at first, that identity, there is an identity criminality where you are brainwashed to think that you are black and where else you are not. And then you said we are better off being classified geographically rather than color. Personally, I have a problem with being classified with color because I don't think that color relates to us human beings. And I said there is no consistency in this thing. When you look at a form, it says, are you black? Are you white? Are you Indian? And then are you colored and stuff like that? But then, what color is Indian? So we are better off, but there will be a debate when it comes to this identification. That some will say you cannot call me European. I was born and bred in Africa, even though my skin color is different. What would you say in that?
The fact that you were born in Africa does not remove the fact that your grandparents are from Europe. So, in direct response to your question, you are simply an African European. That's all.
African European.
Yes. Like African American.
Yeah, like African Americans. But do you know what is happening in America? There is another a section of African Americans who just detest to be labeled as African Americans. They say, yes, I might be brown or I might be this color, but I've never been in Africa. And then they say, I am an American, so don't call me African American. Recently, we had an African American lady who is a friend of mine, Latoya. What I'm wearing today was gifted to me by Latoya. Then Latoya doesn't like also the idea of being called African American. She says they are more comfortable being called Black Americans instead. But then we're still going back to the a color, like black.
Zizi, Babu Jamin, I like God. I am a Christian. I am a young man who grew up in church and I got lost in the wilderness, wara, and then I came back when things went difficult. God does not respect persons.
Yes.
God does not take your opinions or my opinion. God puts a principle, and that principle says, the rain falls on all of us. Bob Marley says the rain falls on every roof where it's raining. So what is the little wisdom in those two sayings?
Yes.
The fact that you don't like being called African does not change the reality that your ancestors, your roots are in Africa. So we will allow you to spin in your madness until you realize that.
Get carried away in your own madness.
Yes, no, that's fine. We don't have a problem. And we know that your grandparents are also our grandparents, all of us.
Yeah.
That friend of ours might not like the ancestors where she comes from as a descendant. She's a descendant of Africans. And by the way, we love her ancestors, those who come from Africa. We love them very much. She might have a problem with them, we love them very much.
Yeah, but I mean, Ambassador Andy, have you noticed that there are some Americans or African Americans who do not want to be classified as African Americans?
Ziz, I was talking to my wonderful brother Odo at that site earlier on. We just had an off the cuff discussion. Yeah. It is important that we understand that this show is about reprogramming the minds of young people. Number one. Yeah. Whilst it is about education and entertainment, the Ben Stairs show, yeah, the critical part of it, we use entertainment and education to reprogram our people. Okay. Our people have not programmed themselves. They are programmed by when they were given birth. The people, the community where they were learning to walk, formed part and parcel of the pictures that they put in their head. The teachers, your first teacher, the first doctor that you went to, the first nurse that you saw, the first aeroplane that you saw, how that flying thing overhead was named. You did not know when you were growing up. You were taught by the members of that community. We were programmed to act in a certain way. You remember when we used to go to school, they would say, I'm no tata ke sis tam je. Yeah, he's just like his father, man. His father was useless. This boy is going to be useless. Only to find that inside that boy sits a professor. Yeah. Inside the boy sits a professor. Yeah. You are not killing the boy, you are killing the professor in the boy.
You are killing the whole life.
Yes. The whole generation that's going to come after him is going to be operating on a wrong foundation, because this guy is going to say, I can't become a doctor. I'm told that my father was stupid, so I'm stupid. And okay, yes, we need to reprogram. So long story short, I know that I have digress from the major issues, but it is important that we must identify that we are committing crime against ourselves, identity crime.
Identity crime.
Yeah, ourselves. And we need to police ourselves. And policing ourselves begins with accepting that the color black is nowhere with us.
Yeah, true.
I'm wearing black shoes. Yeah. Like they would say, Los Pactos das Negra. Give me that pair of black shoes. Yeah. Or La Mesa Negra, a black table. A black table means that table is painted black. And me and the black table, or me and these things that are black, there's nowhere that we share the same characteristics. So long story short, all of us in this room, we must accept that we are committing crime against ourselves by agreeing to be called what we are not.
I love that.
When we deal with major crimes that we're talking about, we should have addressed the self-crime, the crime that we are committing against ourselves. Malcolm X, in one of the clips, says, who taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate your own brother? Who taught you to hate your own mother? Who taught you to hate your own people from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Nigeria? Yes, that those who commit crime, yeah, those we have a problem with. But the majority of our people who come here looking for food and opportunities and work for us and help us and give us medical services, why should we hate them just because they are from other parts of the world? So these are the forms of crimes that leads us to do what? To go into the next phase, that I am going to address with you, to go into contact crimes. Contact crimes means that bashing this guy because this guy mistakenly bumped into your car, mistakenly stepped on your toes, because there's self-hatred, there's a criminal sitting inside me from an emotion and psychological point of view. I'm going to unleash crime on that particular person. And what do we call that crime? Assault. Yeah. And then this guy picks up a baseball bat. He smashes people with a baseball bat. It's now assault GBH. This guy picks up a firearm and shoots your sister or my sister because my sister does not want to continue the relationship anymore. Kills our sister, and then we call that gender-based crimes. I don't call it gender-based violence. Violence is crime.
Violence is crime.
Yeah, so I don't know what these nice terms of gender, GBV.
Yeah.
Some stupid person in government thought that is coming with a state of the art concept, GBV. It's GBC. It's gender-based crime.
Gender-based crime.
Yes, it's crime that's been committed against women, people with disabilities, people of a different sexual orientation, many other things. We read that transgender people, when you commit crime, you commit crime. It's not violence. Let's call it what it is, gender-based crime. I saw the crime stats that the Minister of Police in South Africa released the last quarter stats, October to December 2022, that suggests that gender-based crime increased and the arrest of the criminals committing gender-based crimes have gone up. I am conscious of the fact that I am not calling it gender-based violence. It's gender-based crimes, yes. So this form of crime that we have subjected ourselves to as a result of another crime, political crime called apartheid, that forced us to look at ourselves as black people, has led us to lose value and respect for women. That's why we rape them. That's why when guys go to jail, other guys rape them. Wow. And that's a serious problem. And when this guy comes from jail, he's a light, with a small frame. This young man has been raped repeatedly for 5 to 10 years. When he comes out of there, the self-esteem is dead.
The self-esteem is dead. And also, considering the stats, we also have a crisis when it comes to murder, because murder stats skyrockets.
Correct.
And that is troubling, because I think out of all the crimes that can be committed, murder is the worst of them all.
From Babu Zizi, from October to December 2022, 7,555 people were murdered. These are the stats that we are talking about. So you and I can really begin to see the wrong state of mind. We are not entertaining people when we talk about murder. It's something very serious.
It's something serious, yeah.
We want our people to be happy, to get excited for saving the life of another human being. I'm sure the purpose of this show, amongst others, is to educate and to entertain. So when you kill the next person, you're destroying us. Because mostly it's black people who stab each other like we are animals.
Is it black on black crimes?
Yeah, black on black crimes. Yeah, I know there are farm murders. I have been, as the former chairperson of the provincial board in Gauteng Community Police Board, I have visited a lot of farms. I have visited all policing precincts. There are 142 police stations in our country. I've been to all of them, the rural areas. I've gone to visit old white ladies whose husbands were killed by foreign nationals who are Africans like me, and who are killed by some of our brothers who are colluding with these other criminals from somewhere else. So it is important that we address it from the roots, and the root starts with us.
And then do you think our government is winning, or else they need to change the model in which they are combating crime?
Our government will not win if they exclude you and I, if they exclude the people, if they exclude those who see things, those who can identify the suspects, yes, who kill, who rape, who commit cash in transit heists. Our government has gone to such an extent that because of their absence, because of their aloofness, keeping their distance from the ordinary man in the street, they have given youngsters wrong role models. You see our people at that cash in transit heist that happened in, is it Benoni, some 2-3 weeks ago? We all saw it on social media. You see youngsters giving around,
yeah, they clap.
They clap, yes.
Yeah, they actually hululate and go like, wow, you,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So, and now this is instilling a wrong culture
Yes.
to the young children and also to the very people who witness that, because they see a sign of heroism, that whoever is committing cash in transit heist is a hero of some sort.
Yes.
And after the crime happens, people are waiting like vultures to go loot whatever remains.
Yes. This is very serious. Very, very serious. Amachita ya spin, amachita ya panda. In the process, they kill amanyamachita aspinayo abasebenza kuleyo cash in transit van. They kill the people, and most of the people who drive these cash in transit vehicles are our own brothers, our own uncles, our own mkhulu bethu.
Yes.
Yeah, and amachita taya spin. What kind of nonsense?
And another crime that has crippled the country is copper theft, the copper cable theft. Right now, we don't have a functioning railway or rail system in this country. And when you look at stuff like electricity, you know, in different sections, townships and wherever, you find that there are those criminals who specialize in stealing the copper cables. And it's been going on for a long time now. And the scrapyard companies, they act like culprits themselves because they are active elements in that form of criminality. What is your take on that?
I hate all scrapyards. particularly those who buy copper from me or from a guy in our street, knowing that that guy does not have a factory that manufactures copper. If a scrapyard buys copper from a guy who's manufacturing copper, the guy that we know in our street that this guy is manufacturing copper, we don't have a problem. But a guy who does not own a company that manufactures copper, where does he get the copper from?
Where does he get the copper from?
Yeah, and he sells you the copper. You are not asking that particular person to produce an ID, to give you his or her residential address, to tell you where he bought this copper from that he wants to sell to you. These scrapyard companies buy this copper and they send it to China. In 2010, until 2015, when I was still the chairperson of the provincial board, I used to sit on a precious metal committee that comprised of the Hawks, ordinary police law, organized crime and crime intelligence. By then, the copper that was leaving South Africa in containers was equals to 12 billion rands. Copper only. I'm not going to talk about the gold that gets sold to what's this place that people want to go to? Saudi Arabia, what do they call it? Dubai.
Are we selling a lot of gold to Dubai?
Stolen gold gets sold to Dubai. Stolen gold here that comes from the Zamazamas who kill our people in and around the area, who raped our 8 sisters in Kagiso Krugersdorp. You remember the story?
Yes.
The gold that's produced from there, it gets sold to Dubai. And Dubai, we are told, is the best in the country, and we know it's just a basis. It's just a hotbed of crime in terms of purchasing that gold, and in terms of purchasing the copper, and all other crimes that Dubai has allowed, like stolen money from here that gets saved in Dubai, money laundering that happens and that ends up in Dubai. So, before you ask me if I'm excited about Dubai, no, I'm not excited about Dubai. It's just a criminal state like any other state, you know.
Wow. But I mean, according to how they portray Dubai, they will show the desert in the 1980s or whatever, and now they show you these glorious cities that you see. Tallest buildings, crapping buildings and stuff. But now when you come to this show and say, we've got our copper, I mean our gold, that is stolen gold that is sold to Dubai and stuff. So, I mean, during your term as the chairperson of that forum, what were the plans in combating all of those activities?
General Sibiya used to be the head of the provincial Hawks unit, Gauteng. Very effective. These scrapyards sell the copper and gold that has been processed. Let me stick to copper with the scrapyards. Process it, sell it to someone. Someone is going to refine it and put it in a container in the Durban Harbour, that hotspot of crime. Put it on a container, take it through to Dubai. General Sibia and the team were very effective. They took down a number of the dealers. I remember there's a runner, this fool who cuts an Eskom cable. And this fool going to tell, he's a runner, it's just simply a runner.
I love the way you describe them. This fool, I can see that fool.
Yes, he doesn't know that even what they're paying him, it's not worth what that copper is. They're going to give him 500 or 5,000 rand, and they're going to make 50,000 from that copper all along the process. And ultimately, they're going to sell it to Dubai as $5 million worth of copper. So, your long story short, Ntate Dlamini, crime and criminality in South Africa is on the rise. Murder has increased by 10.1% from that period. Only October to December 2022. When you compare it to December 2021, October to December 2021, you do the comparison. Crime has increased by 10.1%. In fact, that's your murder, increased by 10.1%. Yeah. And 10.1% means it increased by 7,000 people murdered, 7,555 people, only in 3 months.
Only in 3 months. That's a brainer. It's shocking the hell out of me, because per day, how many people get murdered?
There was a stage when you had 52 people murdered. I'm subject to correction. My last knowledge was we are going to, 80 people per day or just less?
80.
80.
Yeah. Plus minus 80 people are murdered daily in South Africa. And if we say daily, and this thing perpetrates, that means it can only get worse. Because that means now, South Africa, we've got a lot of murderers roaming around the streets.
Especially those who are not caught, those who did it without being seen, those who will never be seen. I hope and pray that law enforcement agencies and the people of our community, even if it can be after 20 years, when they know that this person killed that particular person, let the dogs of the law eat that man alive. Dogs of the law, meaning your detectives, all units, NPA, prosecutors, all of them. Even if that guy can be an old man, send him to jail. So as others should not do that, thinking that they are not going to be arrested.
Do we have enough jails in this day to keep all the criminals? Because, South Africa is like a crime hotspot, and now we are becoming a murder epic center. So, I think that one is troubling enough.
South Africa has enough jails. South Africa does not have the willpower to give resources to the police, to provide the police with the latest technology. In this area where you are, you don't need a police van to be patrolling. You need a drone, Babu Dlamini. And I can bet with you, and I've already won the bet. You have never seen a drone with an SAPS badge flying over here. Am I wrong or right?
No, you're right.
Yeah, so.
We need a drone.
Yes, we need a big drone. A drone that will be patrolling the streets. A drone that will be able to identify, whilst it's picking up information of the things that are happening in the street, it sends it to your Johannesburg Central Police Station. Yes, that site. Yeah. And someone is sitting there with these screens. When I go to France, to the place where Interpol is located, they have big screens like this. Even Microsoft have something like this, cyber crime center. The drone, when it picks up that information, Babu Dlamini, it sends it to Johannesburg Central. You and I used to call it John Foster.
Yes.
Yeah. That information gets spread to the your ordinary vans and your highway patrol and your flying squad vehicles. Those who are on the freeway. If there's a robbery, they already go to the exits of this area. There's an exit somewhere here that I'm going to use when I go home. I'm going back to the West Rand. You already station your number 7 there. You have your 330i there. You have your Golf 7 or Golf 8, 4 of the best, and you have other 2 Golf 8 and Golf and your 330 BMWs that other side. So long story short, I'm trying to say the willpower. I don't know whether leadership is that intelligent to can think about these things, to can talk about these things, to can engage with ordinary people on these things. I normally spend time, Babu Dlamini and the producers here and the guys in this room, I normally spend time to talk to our people about these things. You can tell I'm not talking big English, I'm not talking complicated things, I'm talking simple things. I prefer, even if I was being escorted by the guys in the uniform, I prefer to drive with constables. Don't give me a general, don't give me a colonel, don't give me a captain to drive. Yeah, give me a constable, a guy who's going to educate me, who doesn't really care about whether I'm an ambassador of Interpol, I'm a top guy internationally. No, they just call it Praendi. Hey, Nduna, yabana la Nduna ku chengesinyaho pela Nduna. The big guys will not tell you that because they want to remain, yeah.
Mr. Andy, let us also look at car theft and car hijackings. Then we spoke about scrap metals.
Yes, sir.
Now we've got the trending business that was never heard of in South Africa, where you no longer have your fish and chips. When last you saw a fish and chips? But now you see car parts being sold like fish and chips.
In the street up there.
Everywhere, in every street corner right now, especially in Joburg, I don't know. In almost every street corner, you find these businesses. And ever since the inception of these businesses, there is a high increase of these car body parts that are being sold, because I don't say, I must disclaim this, I don't say those shops steal cars. But it is alleged that car hijackers now, they just strip your car, and while you are busy looking for your Fortuner is now in bits and pieces that you can never identify or recognize.
Correct. Your trio crimes, car hijacking forms part of your trio crimes. Truck hijacking, car hijacking, residential robberies.
Okay.
Your car hijackings, the total trio crimes increased by 3%. Carjackings increased by 2.8% from October 2022 to December 2022. Quite correct. Quite correct. These cars are hijacked for body parts. Let me also tell you, coupled to car hijackings is kidnapping.
Oh.
Yes. You get kidnapped. They hijack your car, keep you in the boot of the car, ask for your phone. They will ask for your phone. You know what they're looking for on your phone?
Yes.
The phone, the banking apps.
Oh my.
I don't have banking apps on my phone.
Oh.
Yes. Because when you have a banking app, they say, go to the banking app. They will know how much you have. Now you are now a subject of being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Or a victim of kidnapping. You have to give them money. They will hold you today. They withdraw 5,000. Your limit is 5,000. You are kept until 12 o'clock midnight. 12 midnight, your PIN code. They go to the bank, withdraw money, keep you for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Make sure that the 250,000 that you have belongs to them. So, yeah, it's no longer car hijacking. It's car hijacking plus kidnapping all in one.
And we suffer that a lot in this country as well. And what advice do you have to the government? Let's start with the police ministry. Do you think you have an advice?
In my private space, I'm a strategist.
Okay.
I contributed to the policing strategy that was running until 2019. I wrote that strategy with General Stoller, the one who was asked to leave. I normally set targets. I normally set key performance indicators. I normally would give umuntu key performance area. Policing, it's your key performance area. Your key performance indicators would be these things: the types of crime, increase or reduction in your key performance area. Your key performance indicators are telling me which crime is on the increase. So it means in your area of performance, your key performance area, there's a weakness. I can't blame the people who are operating. The buck stops with you there. When Ababu says you are the minister there, you are directly responsible. So what we have seen up to so far in terms of crime that has gone up, we should not accept the excuse that generally crime will increase. No. The one who's the minister of national security must account, must be held to account. For now, the people of this country cannot ask the minister to account.
Do you know what? We had an advocate in this show, Advocate Ike Khumalo. I don't know if you know him. You know what Khumalo said? He said, I think in this country we need to hold politicians accountable and even taking them to task. He made an illustration that if a company promises you something and they don't deliver, you can sue them. Then he said, why is it that it's not the same with politicians? Because they give promises and fail to deliver. Then he said the country must call those people or take them to task. The people must take those people to task. Then another thing, recently we know that our president reshuffled the cabinet. And some people were earnestly hoping that Minister Bheki Cele will be moved from police ministry. Then there was an outrage that how come he was retained when his ministry seems to be failing so badly.
My take is informed by the analysis, the stats, the targets that have been set, the performance that I spoke earlier on, the indicators that form part and parcel of your targets, and looking at the results do not match the targets that have been set for the reduction. Yes, the targets that have been set to reduce crime and the results, like in these crime stats that were launched in October to December 2022, they don't talk the same language. In the last 5 years, the targets and the results, the outcomes are not what I'm expecting. So
outcomes are disappointing,
yes.
Would you say?
So when I have a contract with you, even all of you here, if I have a contract with you and I'm not performing as per the expectations of this interview and all of you are sitting here, you're going to deal with me decisively. We agree that you'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure. And then you did not do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you did 1, 2. 3, 4, 5 is not done. Thank you very much. Please leave the space. We'll find someone else who will reach all 5 targets. So what am I saying? This is nothing personal. This is nothing political. This is management and leadership.
This is management. And also there was another outcry on the social media about Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma being moved from Kota to being the Minister of Youth Development and Women in the presidency. Now they say, how do you put a 74-year-old individual as the Minister of Youth Development? And at first you spoke about like self-crime or identity crime, you know. Then what message are we portraying to the youth? That, I mean, you would appoint a 74-year-old for their youth development. I don't know if maybe you've got a different view when it comes to that.
I wouldn't really want to go into details about the dynamics around youth and the minister as raw as it is expected. I'm going to go into the debate from a young people in conflict with the law, youth in conflict with the law. The programs that must come from that office should be programs that help young people who are in conflict with the law. Those who are in conflict with the law, labo bancane abahamba ngekoni espanini, and those eskela, and those who shoot each other at the school, those who do funny things. I'm not sure if our mother will have people advising her to take into cognizance that the youth programs should not only about dancing and kicking football and playing for the beautiful clubs of this country, those who kept us going through many years of apartheid and pain and depression. I'm a fan of a ministry that deals with youth issues, that addresses skills, expertise, based on technology, based on artificial intelligence systems and development of those systems, knowing how to use open source to develop artificial intelligence, know how to think about creating a South African car that is fueled by batteries or an electric vehicle. If we talk that language, for now I'm not able to go into a serious debate with the department that my mother or our mother has been deployed at, because I don't know what programs they have in mind. If they have programs, if they share those programs with us, then we would understand that, oh no, this means the young people serving with the politician there, those will understand young people. But if you put our mother there, the minister, and there is no young mind, the young mind that wants to do ikwasa, the young mind that wants to do ivosho, the young man who, the young mind in the minister's office who would want to do what young people want to do. I haven't really seen the impact of that ministry.
Okay, but I mean, let us go back to police ministry. If you were to advise the president, would you advise the president to keep Minister Bheki Cele or to do otherwise?
If I was an advisor to Ntate Ramaphosa, I would take the performance files of all of these ministers.
Performance files?
Yes. And say, we agree that you'll perform this way in order to achieve the goals that I've set for you. All of you ministers, I've given you AMA goals.
Yeah.
By 2022, at the end of 2022, crime should be reduced by 60%.
Yeah.
If crime is not reduced by 60%, it means you are not able to perform your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking it from that flow of thinking, I would then advise the president that, President, here are the files that you put, here are the goals that you put. Most of the guys, the ministers here, have not achieved their goals, so there's actually no need for you to keep them.
Show them the door.
Yeah, show them the door. They are not the only ones, because I'm sure ANC has people who have knowledge and expertise and skills to can replace each other.
Yeah.
But let me caution all of you in this room. It is not about performance. You must know, and you must listen to me carefully. Yeah. We put people around us because we trust them.
Okay.
We trust them to do good.
Yeah.
You must also take into consideration that a minister might be seen not as performing because that minister is being sabotaged by the
media, maybe?
no, the people who work in those departments.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They might not be happy with you,
Yeah.
the people who are working there. You might give them a job. This thing must be done in 48 hours, and they do it after 2 years. In the world out there in the public, we say this minister is useless. This minister does not know what is going on.
Yeah, but then that is the question of accountability again, because once you are in charge, then you must account.
You must know what is going on.
You must know what is going on. And I also want to take you back to the drone issue, or else the drone program that you proposed. It is a beautiful proposal or idea. But looking at it from a South African perspective, you will see on the news that drone number 1 was stolen. Drone number 2 was found in China. They will jam those drones. At first, when they come, there'll be a big buzz that, hey, technology, now we've got drones patrolling the area. But sooner those drones will just disappear.
It is quite correct. There are good people in this room and there are bad people in this room. And unfortunately, we can't see the bad in all of us. We can't see the good in all of us. We are hoping that the good in all of us in this room helps us become better people.
Sure.
The people in this room are just a small circle of what goes out there in the public. There are people that we know that law zokubulala. And there are good people that we know when I'm hungry, I can go into Dlamini's house and ask for food. If I don't have a place to sleep, I'll sleep at the Dlamini's. So, long story short, the drones might be stolen. Meaning, you are saying to me, what control mechanisms will you put in place if you are the minister or if you are the station commander to make sure that the drones don't get lost? It means we must have one way or the other technology that monitors, that protects. Yes. Once that drone takes off, it must report at the station. I have been to 142 police stations. I haven't seen a big screen like this that flashes crime happening in real time. Those of you who have phones here, by the way, we have switched them off. There's what you call live threat map. Live threat map, there's crime going on now as I'm talking to you all over the world. So you need to know what to do in order to make sure that you are able to protect yourself and to protect your station and to protect your immediate policing area. They call it the policing precinct. So you need to have technology, and you must use technology because we are going to be ultimately controlled with technology. All of us in this room.
Yeah, true.
One day, we are going to have a chip inserted in you. It's already happening. You are now going to have a digital ID. You saw Minister Motsoaledi a month or some few weeks ago on TV. There are 2 bills that are out for comment. One of the bills is on a digital ID. Everyone in this country, including foreign nationals, are going to have IDs. We must know where you are. We must know who you are. Digital. Digital means you are going to have your ID. It's going to be with you wherever you go.
And how so?
You don't need to carry it.
How so, unless they implant it on your body?
Yes. So you need to know.
Are you really now talking about chip implants?
There are chip implants that people have in other countries, in America. The digital ID now, because of my Interpol's responsibility and area of operation, Australia, if you don't have a digital ID, a businessman, a friend of mine, you can't sell your goods outside of Australia. You can't sell your goods in Australia. You must have a digital ID.
Okay, what will be an alternative for someone who is or whose belief is against such? Because there has to be a room.
Unfortunately, the law and religion are not friends. The law does not respect. religion. If you want to say to me, prove it to us. You no longer pray at schools like we did. There's no longer assembly. You pray for yourself. There's no such thing as assembly. We go there, we sing as youngsters, Baba, way to who art in heaven. It's not allowed. So politics and religion does not respect the Bible. When they implant the chip, you either have the chip or you're not going to eat. You won't be able to buy.
Yeah, but then you can see that this is now like mandatory, and
Yes.
it is compelling people to even go against their faith or even their wish. And I don't think that is a good approach. Why must we take such a drastic approach?
Babu, I mean, what you think is not important. The law, the bills have been passed in Parliament. They're out for comment. I don't know for how long. Whether you comment or not, law does not give a damn. They will make sure that you carry the ID, the digital ID.
So we are moving to another era as a people, because I don't want to say as a country, since we all know that we are living in a global community. Yeah, we are living in a global community. Mr. Andy, I actually love your insight. And there's something that you've just said that I will propose. I don't know if maybe you have done that you present it to the government and say, let us have the portfolios of all the ministers and assess their performance and even publish it to the people, and let ministers or members of the cabinet be judged by their performance. I think that is what I'm taking out of this conversation I've had with you. Do you have anything in closing?
It is important that we take steps to ensure that the safety and security of the people of our country is guaranteed. Why should that be? In the National Development Plan, Chapter 12 of the National Development Plan says, by 2030, the people of this country should be feeling safe and should actually be safe. And you have your Millennium Development Goals, your MDG, those things that are set at this dangerous forum called the World Economic Forum. Everything that you do, Babu Dlamini, you must know that you are doing it towards 2030. So for us to be safe by 2030, we must begin now to deal with the issue of crime, to deal with the issue of security, to sensitize our people, sensitize them like in when our sisters at the malls go to their cars, they should stop dangling their car keys, because agents hunt at the malls.
Okay.
Yeah, this sister of mine is having the handbag, having your keys, your car keys to your beautiful car, your 4x4, whatever. The guys are looking at you. And my sister has parked her car very far away from where there are other cars. She wants to be unique, or my brother wants to be unique. And these guys follow you, as if they're pushing trolleys or they're trolley collectors. When you open up the boot of your car and you take, they actually say, sister, can I help you put these things at the back of the car? You think that they're good people. You don't even look at them, just, it's fucking. And then the minute and the moment you look in the boot of your car, they pull the car and say, we want the car keys. So what am I saying? Alertness, vigilance, ensuring that people talk about these things, ensuring that as Africans, all of us in this room, we have always been neighbors. We have always played at the next door house or at the neighbor's house, like we would always say, "You're next door, mom." So we must create that culture of awareness.
Yes, that awareness culture.
Yes.
And also blow the whistle, because I think people no longer blow the whistle.
People are afraid to blow the whistle, Babu Dlamini, because when they blow the whistle, the very same police who must help them want to kill them. You know that story of that woman in Mashaile in the Free State, the one who pressed the button about corruption at SAPS. She's now in hiding.
Wow.
She's a whistleblower. There's that woman, Babita Diokaran, the one who blew the whistle on the theft, the looting at Tembisa Hospital. Is dead. She was shot at the driveway. We all know the story.
Wow. Say, I don't know if I'm putting you on the spotlight. Since we're talking crime, we can never leave this one out. The Phala Phala saga. Yeah, and I think it's a dark cloud that is hanging over the head of the president of South Africa. And what do you think about that? Do you also feel like it's been handled properly?
I know that a case was opened at Rosebank. I don't know about the case number, but Mr. Fraser opened up a case at Rosebank Police Station. Yeah. The investigations that followed and that are still going on, I don't have an insight on them. But I hope and pray that if there is a case to be responded to, the president must get his day in court. Those who are doing the investigations must do their job. If there's nothing to be associated with the Phala Phala scheme of things, then the courts will decide as per the investigations and evidence put before the courts. I don't normally comment from an emotional point of view. I follow the facts that have been put before me. Sometimes the facts might be misleading. You might be told that this is what happened when actually that is what happened. So I'm not sure because I don't know the merits of the case. I don't know what is going on. What we have read in the media is what most